Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about one of the original giants of tech, IBM, and its uncanny ability to do the impossible, constantly reinvent itself.
So get this, just recently, on October 22nd, 2025, IBM announced a 7% year-over-year revenue growth for its third quarter. Now you might hear 7% and think, okay, what's the big deal? Well, for IBM, that's their highest growth in years. It totally blew past all expectations. And here's the really interesting part. This surge isn't coming from some dusty old technology. Nope, it's being fueled by the two hottest, most cutting-edge sectors in the entire industry, artificial intelligence and hybrid cloud computing. So that begs the question, right? How on earth does a company that's over a century old manage to keep leading the pack? To really get our heads around this latest comeback, we've got to look back at its incredible roller coaster history of rising, falling, and then rising all over again.
Okay, so let's jump in the time machine and rewind to IBM's first golden age. We're talking about a time when IBM wasn't just a big company. For all intents and purposes, it was the company.
So the company's roots actually go all the way back to the 1890s and the U.S. Census. But its modern identity, the IBM we think of, that was forged by one absolute visionary, Thomas J. Watson Sr.
Watson built this incredibly powerful, almost fanatical corporate culture. It was all based on these core beliefs. A super strict dress code, the dark suits and white shirts, and a dead simple one-word motto that was literally plastered everywhere. Think. Now this think culture, it powered one of the biggest, gutsiest bets in corporate history, the IBM System/360 mainframe. This project cost the equivalent of $50 billion in today's money. That is more than twice what the entire Manhattan Project cost. But it paid off big time. It was a massive success that basically cemented IBM's dominance for decades.
But here's the thing about a dominant culture. What happens when it stops adapting? Well, IBM was about to find out. The hard way.
See, by the 1980s, that same powerful culture had become rigid, kind of inward-looking. Their obsession with perfection made them slow, and their focus was 100% on huge corporate clients. They were completely missing the personal computer revolution that was bubbling up.
In 1981, they released the IBM PC. It was a huge success. It standardized everything. But they made a legendary, almost unbelievable strategic blunder. They outsourced the operating system to this tiny, little-known company called Microsoft. And this is the crazy part. They didn't lock down the exclusive rights. They basically handed over the keys to the kingdom they had just built.
So what happened? Well, while Microsoft grew into a software titan, IBM's market share in PCs just plummeted. The giant had stumbled badly, and by the early 90s, it was staring corporate death right in the face.
Then, in 1993, with its back against the wall, IBM did something it had never, ever done before. It hired an outsider to be CEO. His name was Lou Gerstner.
Now, Gerstner wasn't a tech guy. He came from Nabisco, for crying out loud. But he saw right away that IBM's problem wasn't its technology. It was the toxic, backward-looking culture. His mission? He had to make the elephant dance.
So first, he went after the symbols. He famously got rid of that mandatory blue suit dress code. But he didn't just issue a new rule. No, he was smarter than that. He just took it back to a simple, powerful principle. Dress for your day and dress for your client. Simple as that.
But this was about so much more than suits. Gerstner realized that culture wasn't just part of the game, it was the game. He shattered the internal silos and forced the company to stop just selling boxes of hardware and to start providing actual integrated solutions for its customers.
This led to a truly monumental shift. IBM started shedding its less profitable businesses, and it all culminated in 2005 when they sold their entire PC division to Lenovo. Think about that. IBM, the inventor of the PC, was out of the PC business. It was now a services and solutions company.
And that incredible turnaround, it set the stage for the IBM we see today. The cultural bets Gerstner made decades ago are now paying off big time in the age of AI.
It's funny. IBM's ambitions in AI are not new at all. They've been playing the long game. I mean, way back in 1997, their supercomputer Deep Blue made history when it beat the world chess champion Garry Kasparov.
And then, in 2011, their next-gen machine, Watson, absolutely captivated the world by winning on Jeopardy! It proved that a machine could actually understand the tricky nuances and ambiguities of human language.
So you fast forward to today, and that decades-long investment is just fueling explosive growth. Their generative AI business alone has already soared past $9.5 billion.
And that brings us right back to where we started. When we look at that impressive 7% growth number now, we can see exactly what the modern IBM is. It's a powerhouse driven by high-value software and consulting, with its old-school infrastructure business still chugging along and performing really well.
When you really look at its long history, IBM has never been just one thing, has it? It's a story of constant, radical, and often painful transformation, from one era to the next.
It's really a masterclass in corporate survival and reinvention. And it leaves us with one final thought. What seemingly impossible challenge will this perpetual phoenix decide to take on next?